As the Royal Highland Fusiliers swagger through Cumnock and Ayrshire, political leaders know that Scotland could well decide the next government of Britain, either by continuing February's march towards independence or by forcing the Scottish National Party to retreat. Of course, all the UK issues, like rising prices, matter here in Scotland too. But it's nationalism's appeal to the voter in Labour strongholds like East Kilbride and whether they answer yes or no, which could again have an importance beyond Scotland's boundaries. Similarly, in West Lothian, where British Leyland have a huge plant, it would be a cruel reversal of traditional voting patterns if Mr Wilson was denied his overall majority by the loss of Scottish seats. Though both the major parties deny self-government is a major issue, there will probably be few political changes in Scotland which don't involve the nationalists. In Glasgow, Mr William Ross, the Secretary of State for Scotland, launches Labour's Scottish Manifesto. As elsewhere, Labour MPs will claim much achieved in a short time, though they may not emphasise the speed with which the party here, under pressure from London, adopted an elected Scottish Assembly as policy. How many supporters they'll lose because of that change, it's hard to judge. Probably no more than those Conservatives who disapprove of their party's plans for a delegated assembly. The Scottish Tories campaign is certainly more colourful and perhaps more aggressive after Mr Heath had taken a personal hand in the party's affairs up here. A new Hampden Park and a tougher time for the Vandals are among policies promised. At Conservative headquarters, the party's organisation and many of its candidates in key constituencies seem tougher and younger than their predecessors. As Mr Thorpe was quick to point out during his Scottish tour, the Liberals haven't suddenly seen the need for devolution. They have 62 candidates this time compared with 34 in February. But despite their leader's almost perpetual motion in Scotland last week, they may do no more than hold the 3 seats they have. But their mere presence in 28 more seats may well attract some of the protest vote away from the SNP. As they launch their manifesto, the Scottish National Party's aim is to double the number of their MPs from 7 to 14. But with the fear that their support may have peaked 4 months ago, their leaders privately may be happy to end up with 10 seats. With its 3 rivals all now proposing some form of Scottish Assembly, the nationalists hope that much of a campaign will be fought on what they regard as their home ground. Whose home ground govern will be after the election looks even more uncertain, with the entry of a National Front Orangeman, but Glasgow will almost certainly remain a Labour fortress. It's to the northeast where King Robert the Bruce fought for Scotland's independence at Bannockburn, around Stirling, that 3 of the keenest political battles will be fought. In West Stirlingshire and Stirling, Falkirk and Grangemouth, the SNP have high hopes of winning 2 Labour seats. In neighbouring Clackmannan and East Stirling, the positions are reversed, with Labour threatening to retake one of the SNP's February gains. 100 miles north, the lovely Moray Firth area is traditionally Conservative country, where fine farming land meets a sea full of fish. But in February, the SNP took 3 seats here, almost certainly for the same reasons. The powerful fishing and farming communities felt unprotected. The SNP talked of foreign boats fishing right up to the old harbour walls of towns like Macduff. And on his recent tour here, Mr Heath spent a lot of time talking to the fishermen. But there are signs that the farmers are still disenchanted with both Labour and Conservative agricultural policies. If that's so, the SNP could hang on and even gain a seat like Galloway. This is Parliament Hall in Edinburgh. Under this old oak roof, the Scottish Parliament used to sit until 1707, when, with many members bribed, they decided to unite with England. Here, perhaps, a Scottish Assembly or Parliament could meet again. What sort of body it'll be and whether a sovereign Parliament will ever sit in Scotland again, we'll have a better idea after October the 10th. David Rose, News at 10, Parliament Square, Edinburgh.